for joining us in our second month of our 2024 Sustainability Challenge. This month is all about recycling, which is why I'm very pleased to have Johanna and Sean here from the Ridgewood Recycling Center. I myself have so many questions about recycling, and I know other people out here do too, and some of you have submitted your questions already. And if you have any questions, I'll be coming around later with a microphone. If you don't feel like asking the questions on the mic, you can just whisper them to me and I'll say them on the mic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Larissa, and thank you, Ridgewood residents, for taking time out of your busy schedule to come out on a chilly Tuesday evening to discuss recycling. We're really happy that you're here, and we've been looking forward to this program because recycling is an important part of community life. We are all very concerned about our environment, we're all very concerned about our municipal budget, and we want to make sure that we're doing things the best way for our community and for the sustainability of our planet. So today's topic is recycle right. What can be recycled, what cannot, and why? And in our discussion today, we're going to answer the question, what is recycling? We're also going to talk about why recycling seems so complicated. That's something that we keep hearing, even though we've been doing it for decades now. But it's just not easy enough. Why is that? We're going to talk about plastics. How can we get it right when it comes to recycling plastics? That still seems to be one of those areas where people are often not too sure. We're going to talk about Ridgewood specifically because recycling does change depending on where you're located. And then you're going to get a little look into the perspective of the recycling processor. So when your material leaves Ridgewood, it goes to a recycling processing facility. And you'll get the perspective of the individuals who work there. We will talk about some of the more difficult items, or I should say the ones that we get questions about often in Recycle Right from A to Z, and how Recycle Coach, a mobile application, can help. My name is Johanna Lutrell. I'm the Recycling Program Aide for the Village of Ridgewood. I've been able to work here now since, well, I'm not going to say, that might age me, but for many, many years. And I'm also here with my boss, Sean Hamlin. He's the recycling coordinator, and he'll also be addressing you shortly. So let's get right into it. What is recycling? Well, when we talk to young ones, we often say recycling is taking something old and making it into something new. And essentially, that really does cover it. In the Cambridge Dictionary, they say it's the process of collecting and changing materials like paper, glass, and plastic. And I like that definition as well as the first one because recycling is a cycle and it requires not only collection but three other important things. You all help us with the first step. That's collection. So you put it in that barrel or that crate and you put it out at the curb. It goes into our truck. We need that. However, we all know that we can put things in the barrel all we want, and we can put it in the truck as long as we want, but if it has nowhere to go, well, we're still not recycling, are we? So that's where step 2 comes in, processing. The material has to leave us and go somewhere where it can then be properly separated or processed for use in the marketplace. And that brings us to step 3. Recyclables are commodities. It's something like a trading floor in a sense when it comes to the world of recycling. They get marketed. The values go up, the values come down. But step 3 is necessary. So we collect it, we separate it, or that's the processing, we get it in a form in which it can then be marketed. And in that picture you see a cube-like structure. It's called a bale. So those recyclables are at the end of the day separated and then baled, where they're put into shipping containers and they're marketed. However, We can do all of that, and we're still not recycling, aren't we? Because even though somebody bought it, if they haven't now decided to use it and turn it into something new, we're still not recycling. So it takes all four: collection, processing, marketing, and remanufacturing. Those items need to show up on a shelf again, and then we are actually recycling. And I think that's an important thing for us all to understand, because we often wonder, well, there's so many other things that we feel like we should be recycling. But if those things can't make it through all four steps of the process, then we don't collect them. And you will learn from our presentation today that in Ridgewood, we only ask you to recycle items that we can guarantee will be reused. We do not ask you to recycle items that at the end of the day may go into a trash can. We just don't do that. So now that we know what recycling is, let's see, well, why is it still complicated? You know, it's been the law to recycle since, I believe, 1991 in New Jersey, when Governor Keene signed that into law. But yet here we are in 2024, and we still don't know how to do it as well as we would like to. Why is that? There are two reasons that I thought we could discuss today, and there are others, but one reason is because the rules differ from one location to another. Why is that? Well, one reason is because, yes, the state of New Jersey does make it mandatory to recycle. All residents, businesses, and institutions have to do it. They also decide which items are mandatory for recycling. But they very kindly recognize that on the county and municipal level, we need some ability to design a program based around what works for us. However, therein comes some of the complication. I've lived in Ridgewood for many years, but if I lived somewhere else before Ridgewood, chances are they may recycle a little bit differently than we do it here, because we're all allowed to design our own program. And so as residents move from one county to another county, from one municipality, even within a county, to another municipality, they have to learn how to recycle according to those local rules. And that can make it a little bit complicated, because we get into a routine, and then we have to relearn that routine. A second reason why rules differ from one location to another goes back to our previous slide on marketing. And so, depending on the markets that are available to us, based on our geographic region, we may be able to recycle more items than others. Here's an illustration of what I mean. Ridgewood very proudly obtained a foam packaging densifier, and I hope you all know about that we recycle foam packaging here, if it's brought to the recycling center. That works for us. Why? Well, one reason is because right here in New Jersey, we have a manufacturer who is willing and eager to buy as much foam packaging as he can from us. So we have access to a market for that material. If I lived in Hawaii or Alaska or some other place that maybe doesn't have that access, and I'm not saying they don't because I don't know, but if I lived somewhere that didn't have that available to them, well then foam packaging may not be an option. So rules differ from one location to another based on the way that the program was designed by the governing body of that location and based on market access. And that's why sometimes it can be a little bit complicated. Number two, recycling rules may change over time. And we have seen that Those of you who were with us about 8 or 9 years ago may have been used to putting takeout food containers in your recycling barrel. And now we tell you no plastic takeout food containers. You see, rules may change over time. Why is that? Because recycling is not a regional activity, it's a global activity. And the marketplace for recyclables are not just national, they're international. So we have to adjust to our international buyers' requirements. And if they require only certain plastics, well then that's what we accept from our residents. If they say, no, I can take this now in addition, then we can roll something out into our program. And we did that a few years ago with food and beverage cartons. The gable-topped refrigerated cartons that orange juice and milk come in, as well as those shelf-stable juice box type cartons that broth and beans and tomato sauce and of course juices come in. Those can go into the recycling barrel. Why? Because access became available, and so we were able to add that into our program, and now we can take that. Recycling may seem complicated, but today we're going to try to make it easy. So let's get started with that. We're going to start first with talking about plastics, because we get a lot of questions about plastics. So on the slide behind me it says, recycle plastics by shape or term, not by number. Many of you years ago would get out your little magnifying glass or look very carefully at the bottom of a plastic bottle to see, is this a number 1? Is this a number 2? Okay, I can put it in. No, I better leave this one out. We're asking you, please, don't recycle based on the numbers. Why is that? Well, the numbers have a purpose. The purpose is really of greater value to the industry. It identifies the type of resin that plastic container is made from. On this slide, it shows that there are 7 different classifications of plastic resin. 1 through 6 have specific materials that they point to, and number 7 is an other. However, those codes are not indicators of recyclability. They simply identify the material that the plastic is made from. So, we could find ourselves in a situation where 2 items are made from the same type of plastic, but yet we may not take one of those items. What's an example? Number 1, PET. That's our water bottle. We take water bottles, don't we? Yes, we do. However, clamshells, which are those clear containers that you may find in the bakery section, or you may find in the vegetable section, very clear, and they open like a clam's mouth, almost. We will not take those. Those are usually made from PET as well. So what's the difference? Why is it that 2 items could have the same resin, but one is recyclable and one isn't? Well, let me give you this illustration. If I wanted to make an apple pie, I need some apples, don't I? Is it gonna come out the same if I use applesauce? What if I use apple juice? It's all apples, right? 100% apple. Applesauce, apple juice, apple chunks. But it's going to react differently in my pie. My result will not be the same. So if you are the manufacturer of a particular product and you have determined, I can use this type of PET, water bottle PET in my product. I can use 50% recycled PET in this product, but it has to be the water bottle type. Will you be happy if you get a shipment and it has something else? No, because that's going to react differently in your manufacturing process, the same way that applesauce or apple juice will react differently when I make that pie. Depending on how the plastic has been molded, it will change the composition, chemical composition of how it will react in a manufacturing process. And that's why we're very particular about the types of plastics that we can take. Please don't worry about the numbers. No need for the magnifying glasses. Just recycle by term or by shape. What term? What shape? Plastic jugs. If you look at it and you would call it a jug, don't think twice, put it in your barrel. If you look at it and you would call it a plastic bottle, your work is done. Throw it in. If it's a plastic jar, like a Skippy or Jif or something else, that's it. We take it. Bottles, jars, jugs, and dairy tubs with the lid. Don't worry about what type of dairy. It could be yogurt, it could be ricotta, it could be sour cream. Doesn't matter. If it's a dairy tub with lid, go ahead. You can put them both in. Just rinse them clean, make sure they're empty, and you're good to go. So, in review, recycling requires collection, processing, marketing, and remanufacturing. It differs from one location to another, and over time, rules may change. When it comes to plastics, just worry about the term. Is it a bottle, a jar, a jug, or a dairy tub with a lid? If so, you've done your work, put it in with full confidence. At this point, my boss Sean will come over and he will continue the conversation with some of the specific rules to Ridgewood and how to recycle right.
Thank you, Johanna, and thank you all for coming out. Really appreciate it because I wish more people would reach out to us if they were confused about recycling, because I know that sometimes it can seem maddening, but we're always here to help. And people like you that are interested in it and want to get better at it only make us better at our jobs. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is mostly our curbside collection program and what goes where and how you can help us do it better. So in our first slide, this is our official can and our official for the bottles and cans and our official crates that we use for paper recycling. And this is the perfect example of what our dream collection would look like. It doesn't always go that way. And you might ask some people, some towns, if you moved here from another town, not all towns require you to use the official town barrel. And one of the reasons we do that is to identify the barrels. Not all towns have as many collections. During the spring, summer, and fall months, we have yard waste pickup. And it overlaps with the collection days. And if you were to just put a regular can out there, they might go buy it assuming it was yard waste. So if anyone doesn't have the can, reach out to us and we'll deliver one to you. And again, the perfect example of what's in that crate there. The plastics, the milk containers, the glass bottles. Never use the tan barrel for your paper recycling. And again, there's two different crews that go around and collect. One goes by and collects the bottles and cans, and another one comes by and collects the paper. You put the paper in that can, the guy looking for the paper is going to assume that it's bottles and cans, and he's going to leave your paper behind. And the same thing goes for the paper crates. Please use the paper crates if you have them, because it helps us identify. Some people put their paper inside of a can and put a lid on it, and the paper truck goes right by it because they don't know that there's paper in there. And it helps us control the weight. Sometimes paper can get very heavy when packed loosely, and if you put it in a 50 50-gallon can, it might be too heavy for that one driver to lift. And the cardboard, we prefer that you keep it tidy and just kind of make sure that it's packaged. You can either break it down, flatten it, and tie it up with butcher's twine, or just use this example here when you put the boxes inside another box, just so long as it's contained and it's not blowing everywhere. And you might ask, there's another example of if you put paper inside your bottles and cans, and maybe sometimes in the winter the bottles and cans don't all come out, and then the next day you put paper in it, and then that truck comes by, the paper truck comes by, and he does see that it's paper, and he dumps it in, and now he's got glass mixed in, and it becomes a contaminant. Or if there's water in the bottom of that can, then the product, it gets wet, and the more moisture involved, it lessens the quality of the recycling and what we get paid for it, and sometimes can get charged for it. Now we're going to talk about our green guide. Everyone should have gotten one. If you didn't get it by now, reach out to us. I have some cards here. You can reach out to me by phone or email, and we'll send you one in the mail, or we'll have someone drop one off. Johanna, she really worked hard on this green guide. I really love it because it speaks to me and how much recycling really means to our planet and our health and our families and our sports, our pets. Because keeping recycling, especially plastic, out of our drinking water is really important to us. So now we'll talk about our recycling barrel. We're going to start with the coating and what belongs in there and what doesn't. Johanna briefly touched on this, and it's really important. One of the biggest contaminants that we have is people empty out a can of sauce, tomato sauce, and right into the garbage. And that becomes a contaminant. Everything you throw in there, we really rely on you to do your part so we can do our part. If you just give it a quick rinse, I have people that actually told me that they put their their glass jars through the dishwasher. That's a little excessive, but even a quick rinse would help out. And we take the plastic dairy tucked in the bottles. We don't want the bottle caps. I know that was what Johanna was briefly talking about, is the bottle caps, although they are made of plastic and they are recyclable, our manufacturer does not want them because he doesn't have the machine that can collect them. They're too small, they fall through the gaps, and they just become garbage then. So he does not want them. So please, don't throw it. Also, don't throw them in there. Even more importantly, don't throw them in there with the bottle caps on, because they become missiles when put under pressure, because they get squeezed and the air doesn't have a place to go, so they become projectiles. And we want to keep them safe as well as ourselves. Again, the cartons were one. I'm so happy because a few years ago we weren't taking the milk cartons. Those have to be rinsed out as well. Sometimes what you can't see, you feel like it doesn't hurt, but it does. Even if it has a little bit of milk residue left in it, just give it a quick rinse, and it'll help us. It'll help us have the quality that we really need to get paid for our material, or lessen what they charge us. Fun fact that I found out: the place that we bring our bottles and cans, and this tells me that you guys are doing your jobs right. One of my drivers came to me and said, "Why, when I go to dump our bottles and cans, they make us go all the way around the back of the building, and everybody else just goes right in front, they dump it, they get out of there." And so I said, "I don't know." I called up the place, and they said, "Well, because your material is much cleaner than everyone else's, and we don't want it to be mixed in with the stuff coming from other towns." And that made me so happy. It really did. And we're far from perfect, but we knowing that we're that much better than the other towns that are going there, that makes me really proud of our program. It makes me know that we're doing things right, and more importantly, that you are doing things right. Paper and cardboard. This is one of the subjects that I can't tell you how important it is to me, because we get so many calls from people that 3 o'clock comes the day before their pickup, and they get antsy, and out goes their cardboard. Where to get it out, especially in the winter time. It's going to get dark by 5 o'clock, and I want to get it out there before it gets dark. But please pay attention to the weather. If it's going to rain, or if there's going to be heavy winds, we're going to lose all that. It's going to be gone. So if you can, wait until early in the morning before your pickup, and try and get it out as early as possible so it doesn't get soaking wet or blow away. We also replace a lot of cans. People call up and say, the recycling guy took my bottle, took my can, but they didn't take the cans. Look at your street. Is there a lot of bottles and cans on your street? Yeah, maybe it's now your neighbor's property somewhere. So just pay attention to the weather. We ask that you either, if you have the capability to bring it to the center, or if you don't have very much, just to wait until the next pickup. Because if the paper gets wet, it's a complete loss for us. We actually pay to get rid of it instead of getting paid for it. It becomes a tipping fee for us. So those are little things that you guys can do to help. And and no styrofoam, no plastic bags. Anything that's questionable, just don't throw it in there. Throw it in the garbage. Plastic film. Yes.
How about pizza box?
That was going to be my next one. the pizza boxes. Our manufacturer does not want pizza boxes. Why? Because pizza has become something that it didn't used to be. They now have some of them have that little plastic piece in there to keep it from the cheese from getting stuck on the roof, and that works, but it doesn't work for us if you leave it in the box. Some of them have the piece of plastic that goes down to keep the grease off the box, and that helps as well, but not if you leave it in the box. And do you know what that piece of plastic is that they put in the pizza box? And I'm sure you guys are going to know this term because it's been a hot topic, but it's actually PFAS.
It's what?
PFAS. It's what's yes, yeah. So it's what is in our drinking water right now that we're trying to get out so desperately.
What about the top of the pizza box?
If you separate the top of the pizza box, we will happily take it. But the other thing is the cheese and the sauce. Even if it slides a little bit, or when you're cutting it and it gets cheese and sauce in there, and people are like, oh, it doesn't look too bad. If it doesn't look too bad, it's bad. if it's clean and zero grease, please by all means recycle it. But he doesn't want it. What can I?
You answered the question. I was just gonna say I used to cut out the grease spots if there was grease in it, and put the clean part in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
The Chinese, if you order Chinese soup, those containers, are those considered dairy containers?
No, they're not. They have, I believe they have, the Chinese containers have like a wax on the inside of them. They don't want those either. And once they start taking them, guess what's going to come along with it? That little metal holder, and it becomes an unrecyclable, unwanted item.
What about egg cartons? I saw the previous slide, I think, said no.
Yeah, no egg cartons. Right now, they fall under the same category as your plastic clamshells. If you get the plastic ones,
Yeah.
and if you get the foam packaging ones, they don't want those either. And unfortunately, it's not. We just said that we take foam packaging, but there's certain foam that we do take and certain foam that we don't take. Yeah, cardboard egg cartons would be great. I wish they would just start using cardboard.
That's okay.
What about medicine bottles?
Nope, no medicine bottles. They're just like the bottle caps. So they don't want them. It can't collect anything under 3 inches. Their machine just doesn't. It doesn't capture them, and they just fall all over the place, and they get lost, and they become garbage. So they just throw them away. So and they are. It's not that they're not recyclable. They are, but just not by our manufacturer. It's just something that they don't want. It becomes a nuisance for them.
Why don't we, if anyone else has any more questions, we can hold them until the end, because I know I could just be throwing so much.
That's when I'm going to hand the microphone back to Johanna. I'm just kidding. So now I want to talk about what we collect on bulk days. This is really important for us in recycling because I don't think that enough people do it, and then they call and say, why wasn't it taken? We just passed a new ordinance a few years ago that you can only put out 7 items for the bulk collection. What people don't realize is they haven't looked at the ordinance is it does not include your recyclable items. Any of these items, microwaves, tires, scrap metal, batteries, appliances, they do not count towards your 7 items. So you have to keep them separate. Just keep them away, because if you mix them all up, they're going to get left behind. So if you have 7 items you want to put out for the garbage, that's your 7 items. Anything recyclable, you can put out as much as you want. And we do collect these things, and it's important to us. It is a commodity for us, and it's important that it doesn't go into the landfills. If you have refrigerators, take the doors off. A lot of people don't know that either. They just say, oh, they take refrigerators, they put the doors out there. But again, that becomes the guy who takes our refrigerant. It becomes a product. It's something that he has to get away. He has to throw away himself and pay a cost to get rid of. So he doesn't charge us to take our refrigerant, so we don't want to give him a cost. And we do, the refrigerator doors are, recyclable, so you just have to have them separate from the refrigerator itself. And we do take tires, regular car tires, not giant machinery tires. I don't know a household that would have one of those, but you never know. Some people have them in their backyards, it swings, and then they don't want the swing anymore, and then they roll it out to the curb. We will take any scrap metal that's cut down to 4 feet or less. The reason being is because we've had fellows get injured. We have for example, one of the trucks threw one of those basketball hoops in, and he said, I don't want. The lady came out and said, I can't cut it down. Can you just take it? And he threw it in the truck, and he went to crush it, and swung around and hit him. So that's why we ask that you cut it down. If you can't cut it down, give us a call. We'll see what we can do to work with you to help you out. Don't put gas-powered equipment on the curb that comes to the recycling center. If you have a lawnmower or anything that takes gas, and you have to drain the fluids out of it because they cause fires. We had several fires in our trucks collecting the scrap metal, and we don't want to lose any more vehicles. So, any questions about the curbside pickup? So now I want to talk about what we collect at our center, because this really excites me. We do take a lot of stuff at our recycling drop-off center. I don't know how many of you have been there, and one of the things I'm happiest about is we do get a really clean material there. When you come there to drop off your bottles and cans or paper, you don't have to get out of your car anymore. You just drive up, pop your trunk, the guys take it out, and you go on your way. And they are able to visually inspect it, and they give you back the stuff, and they'll tell you what to do with it. If it's garbage or if it goes out for bulk day, they're very nice down there. and a very helpful staff. We do take books, and that's appropriate because we're in a library. They do have to have an ISBN code. If no one knows what that is, that's just the barcode on the back. That's what the vendor wants, because they do resell the books, they don't recycle them. They ask that books be in good condition because they want to resell them. You know, they do recycle them if they're not resellable, but they don't, you know, they would like to be able to put these books back into use.
Actually, we have that notice on our book drop, because so many times people, you know, they can't throw away their own books, or no one wants the books, and so they bring them to the library, and we really can't take donations. We don't have the time to process them, and sometimes, anyhow, we just can't take the donations, but we have the address, and please bring them to the recycling center. I'm so glad that you take them.
And so we also take clothing and textiles. You know, that includes anything, you know, any old clothes that you want, no pillows, right? No pillows, no bedding. We preferably just, you know, old clothes, shoes, stuff like that. And we do take used concrete. If you have, and we do have a lot of residents that may have to bust up a section of sidewalk. We do take that there as well. In small quantities, we sometimes have people that rip up a whole sidewalk in front of their house, and they come down there with a whole truckload, and that's not really what we want. We want to make sure that everybody has access to it, and that they're not just doing big construction jobs. E-waste, that's any electronics like TVs, old DVD players, anything like that. Radios, we do take them they do have to be dropped off at the center. We don't take them from the curb anymore, and that's by law. We have to take those, and they do go. Some of them get repurposed. Some of the stuff, if it's in good condition, will get repurposed. But if it's not in good condition, it does get broken down to the smallest component. We really love our vendor for that. And hardcover books, again, if they have the ISBN code, then we can take them. Don't put them in your recycling if they have a hardcover on them. Take the hardcover off, and the hardcovers will go out with your bulk pickup. And then you can recycle the inner pages by us. We'll take those for you. We do, yes?
With hardcover books, if I take a great pen and cut off the hardcover, do I have to remove the binding also, because the binding would be recycled?
Yeah, it's fine. I think that would, yeah, the binding is usually a glue. Yeah. So
Sometimes it's right.
yeah, that's fine. It's just the hardcover that we don't want. Household batteries. We do that. This is another big topic that we're going to touch on later on in the video from our manufacturer. We do take rechargeable batteries, lithium batteries, dry cell rechargeable batteries, button batteries, and it's really important to, especially the button batteries. And you'll see in the video that we did an interview with our manufacturer, really why that's so important. And but I just want to stress it: when you get cards, whether from your loved ones, if they're one of the ones that plays music, they all have a lithium battery in the back of it. Before you throw it into your recycling, you have to remove it and recycle it because they can cause fires. We do take printers and laser inkjet cartridges but again, it'll be at the recycling center. We don't pick them up from the curb. Last year, we launched our vegetable oil program. We do take, if you have oil that you're done with, if you do a lot of frying, especially around Thanksgiving, if you guys fry turkeys, you can bring that oil to us. We don't want any animal fats. That's not recyclable. And Johanna touched on the foam packaging. and I will just stress the foam packaging is just the hard, rigid styrofoam that you would get like a styrofoam cooler, or the stuff that comes in a TV box. No soft foam, no peanuts, no egg cartons. That stuff we can't take. It has to be that real hard, rigid foam. And we do take it at the center. However, I know some of you may live in apartments, and one of my goals in the future is to really work with the apartments to help the people that can't get it down to the recycling center, and set up a place where they can put it separate and call us when they have enough of it, and we can come collect it from there. All right, so that's something that's in the works. So now I just want to play you the interview that we had. It's going to be a few minutes, but I think you'll learn a lot I learned a lot from our interview with our manufacturer that we didn't know. His name is Fred Patrone of Atlantic Coast Recycling.
What I like about it is every day is a new experience in this thing. And you're actually, you have a good feeling about how it's not
Oh, we're not seeing.
because when you do the
Start it over.
What I like about it is every day is a new experience in the recycling business. And you're actually, you have a good feeling about helping the environment. Because if we didn't do this, where would it be? We don't have a landfill somewhere. Our facility, the new facility is going to be somewhere around 25,000 square feet. Everything is going to be under the roof, meaning that even the bottles and cans that you were accustomed to dumping outside are going to be dumped inside the building. And we process there, we're projecting 20,000 tons a month in that facility. The main standards come from the Institute of Scrap Recycling. And they have a publication that's, because they have specifications on metals, all kinds of commodities. And we have to conform basically to those standards. That's not saying that they're the absolute end to that. We have to seal the selling material. So the material has to be marketable. If the material is not marketable, what I mean by that is if we don't have a place to bring it, we can't take it. Our buyers may have different specifications. They may be a little more particular on what they want. So we have to abide by their specs also. And you mentioned, as far as the inspections, all of our export material that goes overseas and we ship all over the world, all that material gets inspected as we load the shipping containers. What I mean by that is somebody's actually standing there and they physically look at the material. If that material gets rejected, we could actually be liable for the freight that we pay to get it to that country, for them to reload it, put it back on a truck, ship it back to their port, and ship it back to our country. So you can just imagine what that costs you. You have to have a market for it. We can't sell the material as much as you and I would like to recycle it. There's no market. We're in business to make a profit. People have to realize that. We're not subsidizing making a profit. We have to make a profit. If we can't sell it, and all we're gonna do is just stockpile it somewhere. Eventually, what's gonna happen to that material? It's gonna wind up in the trash anyway if we don't invest to sell it. There was some type of lithium battery or something like that got in the mix. And once you break the integrity of those little lithium batteries, when I say lithium batteries, they come in all sizes, as small as the battery that comes in your greeting card, Christmas card, birthday cards, whatever. If you run those things over and you break that outer shell, they will kind of almost explode. And they heat up, from what I'm told, they heat up to 1,500 degrees. They just cause havoc. Very hard to put them out. We get, in the summertime, we get injection of old things like propane tanks. I'm not talking about the big propane tank that you put on a forklift or something like that. I'm talking about the little propane tanks that you would actually use for a campfire site or something like that. Well, not as much today as it was 4 or 5 years ago. The plastic bags were the number one because they tangle all the equipment. People don't realize it's just a plastic bag, but once that thing gets caught, you know, anything spinning around, conveyor belts, the sorters, it's just a monster to try to get it out. It all has to be done by hand. You know, when these plastic bags get tangled in something that's spinning, you have to shut down the whole system. So you could have as many as 30, 40 people working throughout the whole system. You turn the system off, you know, add it up, so much an hour. People are just standing around now because they have to clean this thing off. Realistically, it could take a couple people an hour to just clean out one side of the system. No plastic bags. Other contaminants, you know, we get household waste, food waste. We get the batteries we spoke about before, the hazardous, you know, materials. You'll get pesticides, things like that, in containers. People think just because it's a plastic container that's got a number 5 on it, we'll take it. But if the container is half full, you got to empty everything out, clean it out. And if it's something that's flammable, you can have a problem. You have a problem. You know, you get the dirty diapers. You don't see as many as those as we did years ago because people think they're recycling. And when you look at a box, I just saw one the other day. I've got a young grandchild, but there's a recycling symbol on the box. That doesn't mean the diaper's recycled. The box is recycled. Well, I think Ridgewood has got to be in the top tier as far as for giving us a quality product. And like I said before, that's all from education. You've got to educate the people, and the residents have to be willing to do what you ask them to do. And you're only asking them to do something for a reason. Because if you have an inferior product, it's going to affect the price that we pay or that we charge you for the material. And that's a big factor. That's a big swing as far as in the budget.
Thank you, Johanna. So that's why I wasn't touching on some of those things. I kind of like went into it about the batteries, and what he was referencing to is the new facility that you saw up there that he's building right now is only building because in 2020, one of those lithium batteries took out his whole facility, burned it to the ground. And it's taken him 3 years to rebuild. And we've had to divert, instead of going to drop off our materials in Passaic, for 3 years now we've been going to Newark, which is a lot of strain on our crew to drive all the way out there every day. So, and the plastic bags, and when I see those pictures and I see those people going in there with knives and cutting out the plastic bags, this is why plastic bags are a nightmare for us in recycling. So no plastic bags, please, in your commingled cans. So I'm going to finish up here. I'm going to run through these really quickly because I know I took up a lot of time. Just another couple of things. Aerosol cans, a lot of people ask what to do with them. Even if they're empty, please don't put them in your recycling. Put them in the garbage. If they do have stuff in them, they go to hazardous waste. If they're not empty, I don't want to go to hazardous waste, so I'm just going to spray it in the air until it's empty. That's no good for the environment either. The batteries, I briefly touched on that. I just wanted to say that don't bring us household regular cell batteries like Duracell, Energizer. If they're not lithium ion, they just go in the garbage now. We don't recycle them anymore. And the bottle caps, anything under 3 inches, we don't want. Cereal boxes and anything like that, tissue boxes are okay to put in with your cardboard. Coffee cups, we don't want, again, because people drink stuff out of them, they become contaminated, they leave stuff in them, they just throw them in there. We had our recycling cans in town, for instance. People drop their coffee cans in there all the time. Their coffee, they don't finish it, they drink half of it, and into the recycling can it goes, and they think that it's being recycled, but it's not. Medicine bottles, we went over that, no. Paint cans. Those, if you have paint cans that are full, they go to hazardous waste. They don't go in with the bottles and cans. They don't go in with the scrap metal at the recycling center. What we ask you to do with them is, if they have paint in them, to pop the lids and air dry them, or you can go to the store and get cat litter and pour it in there and stir it in until it's dry, and then leave them on the curb for your bulk pickup. And don't put the lids back on because they won't know that it's dried out unless they can see it. And we touched on the pizza boxes and plastic bags and plastic takeout food containers. That's really I think the worst thing that could have happened to us is that the plastic, because there's so many out there now. And I know a lot of people are scrambling to start using cardboard, but it's not really helping the situation much any better because that cardboard is not recyclable. It's better than plastic, I will say, but there's something that needs to be done about that. Shipping envelopes, we all get those. If they're all paper, then they're recyclable with your cardboard. But if they have bubble wrap on the inside, or even the plastic ones, or any kind of plastic lining, it doesn't even have to be bubble wrap. If it has any kind of lining in the inside of it, it's not recyclable. Yes, sir.
Half-gallon milk cartons, they're plastic coated paper. Are they recyclable or are they trash?
They will recycle them because there's a market for it.
So the plastic coated paper is okay?
Yes.
All the Amazon packaging that you receive, that's garbage or is that recyclable? Because they're always telling you to bring it to the store.
There's very little in this world today that's not recyclable. It's just whether or not our manufacturer wants it.
So do you use it? We throw it? No. Okay.
No. We are exploring getting a plastic bag baler, and if we do get it at our recycling center, we will be able to take the plastic ones, the plastic Amazon packaging at our facility, but not from the curb, because it's going to end up doing what you just saw up there to our manufacturer. Wrapping paper for Christmas, they don't want it. No foil wrap. If you're using an old school like paper wrap, that's I tell everybody use newspaper to wrap your gifts, but it's not very colorful for the holidays. But they don't want any of the wrapping paper that just goes in your garbage. And I want to just go over Johanna touched on it, our Recycle Coach app. It's available if you have it. If you have a smartphone, download it. I use it at home in my town, and it's a game changer. You can sign up for. All you have to do is put your address in, and it will give you everything according to your address. Your garbage pickup, your leaf pickup, your recycling pickup, and more importantly, we do try, if there is going to be inclement weather, we try and send out messages to just let you know, please don't put your recycling out tonight, based on the weather report, by morning time it's going to pass, and then you can put it out. It'll also give you, I don't know if over the 2 storms that we had in January where you had to bring your garbage to the curb, a lot of people didn't get that message, but you will get it through Recycle Coach. And we've also integrated it to the new website. I know it's a work in progress. A lot of people have had their issues with it, but the one thing that's working fine is the Recycle Coach. You can go on there and type in your address, and it'll give you your schedule for everything. Your calendar will pop up, and it'll tell you everything that you need to know about when your next day is. The difference, why I prefer the mobile app is if you have an issue or you have a question, there's a camera button on there. That's why I have it insert there what goes where. If you click that box on your mobile phone, it's going to come up. It's going to be a camera, and you can actually take a picture of it, and the AI will tell you whether it's recyclable in your town. I know. It's scary, but it does have its uses. It's not just for writing your school papers.
If you don't take the small bottle caps down, beer bottles, because they're too small, you get lost. Are the same bottle caps okay to throw in the metal recycle pot at the recycle center where you have a dumpster?
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's no size issue there.
Yeah, no size issue there. You can just keep them in a coffee container or something, and when you get enough of them, throw the whole container right into the metal bin. And on that note, I'll take some questions if you'd like. Do you want to pass around the microphone?
First of all, thank you so much for that. And I know we probably missed a few of the questions on that mic, but
I can talk loud. What does your team do at the recycling center to prevent, like with all the glasses or whatever, or with the bottle caps that may go into when they throw it into the truck?
So, great question. Thank you. We do the best we can to catch what we can. I'm not going to say that's why I said we're not perfect, but if we do catch it, we'll throw, especially if the lids are, the tops are still on the bottles. If we see it, we'll take it. If it's visual right on top, we'll take it out, put it to the side, dump your can, put it back in, or the guys sometimes they just take the top off and throw it in. So we're not looking to send you home, but with the food containers, the plastic takeout containers, and clamshells, if there's enough of them, you'll find yourself going home with half a can of clamshells. They'll send them back with you, but they'll tell you why, and they'll tell you to just bag them and put them out for your garbage pickup. One of the things that I did forget to say is, as far as glass goes, the bottles and cans pickup, no household glasses. It's a completely different kind of glass. So if you break a glass, it doesn't go in your recyclable. If you break a glass, it can be very sharp. So I would say put it inside of a cardboard box and put it out for your bulk pickup, so everybody stays safe there to get rid of it. No tempered glass. So if you break a glass door, don't sweep it up and throw it in your your commingled barrel, it's a completely different makeup, and it's not recyclable glass. Yes.
What do you do with the oils, the cooking oils?
We have a vendor that buys them from us, and well, he doesn't buy them from us. We're not generating enough yet, but we're looking into hopefully getting more people to bring their stuff there, and if we get enough of it, I think we'll start making a profit off of it.
You might tell people what happens when you put it down the sink. That's more important when you have a flow or a backflow.
Yeah. Haven't they seen the Drano commercial? Can cue that up. But yeah, no, I know people still think that they can even rinsing that pan out, and I always at home, if I cook something with a lot of oil, I try and get as much oil out, but then you have to I always take a paper towel and get the remnants of it off and throw them away. I don't rinse it out into the sink because you're just causing a lot of problems for the water department and your plumbing. Yes?
I'm a regular visitor to the recycling center, very regular. I don't like having more stuff around than I need to. I already have enough stuff. So I go there very regularly, several times a week sometimes. I want to say that everybody that works there has been so helpful, so nice, in the worst weather, whatever I bring there, and I have a lot of trees on my property. They seem to find their way to the ground pretty often. And I bring big loads of stuff over there. They are just so wonderful. I just want to say thank you very much. It's a long way from, I remember when we first started here, we went over to that center, it was just ground, and there were 2x4s, and you took your cans and you threw them on a big pile, and then the bees came, and the bees took over everything. And so we've come a very, very long way from there, and I just want to congratulate everyone who's in charge of this.
Thank you, that means a lot to us.
And ditto on that with the people who come and pick the stuff up.
Yes.
That's her.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes?
Do you take engine oil?
No,
Okay.
not currently.
I remember years ago, we would have the two containers and separate the newspaper from the others. Now we commingle that. And if there's always
Because the market value is equal now. So at Atlantic Coast Recycling, they used to, in all the markets, there used to be a higher premium for newsprint.
Right.
So that's why we separated it. But now the price for mixed paper is all lumped into one. So it still does get separated. It's just done by them, not by us.
And it's not more helpful if we do it, even though they do it.
Are you referring to at the curb or at the center?
Well, either way, I'd be happy to do it at the center too, but I've taken newspaper, but you don't separate there either. So it seems to make no difference.
Yeah, no, at the center it's not cost effective for us to do it. And at the curb we have to send separate trucks, so it's not cost effective.
So it's not done anyway. Except
No. But it is. We don't do it. We don't source separate it, but it is source separated at the facility. They have machines that Fred. It was a longer interview that you didn't get to see where he explained to us how the new system that they're installing works, and I look forward to touring there one day to actually see it functioning.
This has been very informative. I really want to thank you and Johanna.
Thank you.
I'm a little confused, however, about bottle caps. I'm dense.
That's okay. I'm here to help.
They should not remain on top of the hospital.
No, never on top. But they're all like, if you have a half a gallon of Tropicana orange juice, it has that big top on it. That is recyclable. Just don't leave it on. But the bottle caps that are under 3 inches, he said they can't be captured. They just don't want them. It just causes problems for them.
How many vendors are there? How many vendors does Ridgewood work with who sells it?
For
Everything.
everything combined,
Yeah.
About 20.
About 20?
About 20.
yeah. And a lot of people have asked questions like, well, if your vendor doesn't take the bottle caps, can you just find another vendor? And it's not that easy. It's not easy to find a vendor that you have a good rapport with, and gives you, that recognizes the quality of the product that you're bringing them. And other municipalities, they have to bring their stuff someplace too. So manufacturers have to be willing to take the volume of stuff coming from. I mean, some of them are just at capacity that they can't take. There aren't that many of them. Oh, yes, for everybody here that attended tonight, on the back table there, we have some Village of Ridgewood mugs for you. They're like hydro flasks.
Are they recyclable?
100% recyclable, yes. And also, if anybody wants, I don't know if I have enough of them with me, but I do have some of my business cards if you want to ever reach out to me by email or by phone.
Okay, I've been online, and they say that most plastics, like the 1s and 6s, are definitely easily recyclable, but they say in the end that most of the other ones, other than the 1s and 6s, do not end up getting recycled. And
It depends on location and the manufacturer. If the manufacturer has a market for them, then that's what happened to the food containers, the plastic food containers. There used to be a big market for whatever they used, the composition of plastic, resin, whatever they were using to make out of those. There's no market for it anymore, so they just don't want them. So they're phasing them out. But there are companies out there like TerraCycle, Stericycle that have programs that recycle hard to recycle items. But it's not free of charge.
so you're taking those tubs, your pictures, which are typically like the number 5s, the white ones. And what I was reading was that 5s are generally not recycled in the end. I just didn't know if people are collecting because we don't trust everybody separated. And in the end, are they just being thrown out? Or are they actually, do you know if those 5s are actually being recycled?
100%. 100%.
They are being
Yeah,
recycled.
if they collect them, they're being recycled. They wouldn't take them if they couldn't recycle.
Yeah, it's a business decision.
Yeah. But everything that every town collects is recyclable. It's just whether or not the manufacturer that they work with has the material or the market to sell it.
I'd like to make a little plug for cans. Cans are just like a recycling success story. They can really go through this whole cycle and they're back to you within, they're faster than anything else and they're super light. It does take a lot of fuel to transport them. They're nice and thin and, anyhow. A little plug for it.
We know our time is up. Thank you, Larissa.
Thank you so much. Any last questions from anybody? I think we.
Yes.
Is Recycle Coach generally used for many municipalities, or is it?
There are a lot of municipalities using Recycle Coach, and they're out there every day encouraging more towns to use it. It really is such a great tool.
I hope.
Yes.
So they don't want to, recycle can't take newspapers if they're wet.
We will not leave you stranded with wet newspaper. We will take it, but it just becomes they have moisture probes at the facility that we take it, and every time we dump a load, there's a guy there with a moisture probe, and he probes, and they can handle some moisture, but if there's too much moisture, they're not going to reject the load, but we're going to get a bill for it. We're going to get a bill for it. And generally we do make some kind of money, or we do pay for it, but if it's a complete loss to them, it's going to be a lot more money that we pay to get rid of it than.
They'll take it, but it's going to cost us.
Yes, absolutely. So that's why we encourage people not to put it out on rainy days, or to bring it to the center, because we can keep it dry there. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. You guys have a great night.